So Catholic Mass becoming illegal in England in 1559 under Queen Elizabeth I, Owen was born and raised a Catholic and continued his religious practice for his entire life, dedicating his latter years to building priest holes. And I actually have it in parentheses, wait for Dan to stop snickering like a child.
Yeah, I just say priest holes. I wanted to make sure that it was what you actually said before. Yeah, anybody who's watching will see the quizzical look appears. You're like, is that really what he just said? Did I hear him right?
So what they were hidey holes or areas specifically built for priests and other Catholics to hide in. Yes, during raids or searches. So, he was apparently amazing at building these things. He could they were seamless. If you didn't know they were there, you would have no idea that they were there. And apparently, most historians and people who study this type of shit would say that they're almost 100% certain that there is, God knows how many, a multitude of these priest holes that even today, centuries later, still have not been found. So I said this to because I run a lot of this shit by my wife as I'm, writing out and researching. And I told her this, and this is how I knew that we were meant to be together. I told her, there's a lot of these that probably haven't been found yet. And the first thing out of her mouth is, wonder how many of those still have bodies in them.
I was thinking the same thing.
I was like, that's a good point. I was kind of thinking the same thing. God, I love you.
Some guy just goes into hide, and he's still there. It's like, don't come out until we come get you. Okay, 500 years later.
It's built so well, he doesn't even know how to get out.
Let's say poor Catholic priest, but sure, look.
So in about 1606, he turns himself in. He was arrested a couple times and bailed out and all this. But finally, he goes and turns himself in order to distract from some other priests that were hiding nearby in a priest hole he had built. He was soon sent to the Tower of London and was placed in the Topcliffe Rack, named after Richard Topcliffe, priest hunter and chief enforcer of the penal laws against Catholics. You got a cat in there?
Sorry, give me 1 second, my apologies. I was digging through a box that has a lot of packaging in it. Get out.
Okay.
I also had this other image there, when I can imagine them building these little priest holes, and all it is actually just a cardboard box sitting in the room. And it's just like, if I can't see them, they can't see me.
Just painted like a bush saying nobody in here.
Yeah.
It's just a tunnel painted on a wall, and the priest tries to run through it.
Like dude, don't open until Catholic rule. Everybody's to this day saying, "No, where these priest holes are? There's a box sitting here that says, don't open a Catholic rule." Can't do that. How long's
that box been here? I don't know, 500, 600 years?
Smells kind of funny. Schrodinger's priest.
Oh, that's a good name for a band. I call it.
Schrodinger's priest.
Schrodinger's priest. So, this particular kind of rack hung from a wall. Now, Owen's hands were placed in iron gauntlets, and his body would just hang down. So years earlier, Owen suffered from a hernia. And since this is the 16th and early 17th century, once you had a hernia, you pretty much always had a hernia, at least to some extent. It was just, you could lift up your shirt and push it in, but that's about all you can do with it. So during the process of the stretching... Okay.
Sorry,
during the process of the stretching, the hernia happened to pop out. They
Ouch.
slashed at it. Yeah, they slashed at it, and Owens actually died while hanging from the rack because they slashed open his hernia.
Christ. Why?
I
Like,
mean,
just for the hell of it? Like, it's just like,
yeah. Well, they're like, what is the candy come out? And they slash it. Like, no, that's poop.
It's like the chest buster scene from Alien, but the other way around. And that's like,
get away! So there was also, as tales go, an unnamed Catholic boy, possibly a teenager, that was placed on the rack and tortured. Now, while on the rack, they lit a fire underneath it to add to the obvious torment. But he was brutalized so badly that the fire was eventually extinguished by the blood dripping from his back.
ow, what the?
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking blood. That's about as metal as it fucking...
Yeah, like...
I extinguished the flames with the blood from my back. That's a Dethklok song, if I ever fucking heard it. For those of you who have seen Dethklok or seen Metalocalypse, know what I'm talking about. That's about as metal as it fucking gets.
Imagine the old fire safety
And then
officer for the castle coming in. Like, you got expect fire extinguishers here. They're opened up. Yeah, blood one's full. It's all good. Because apparently it's really good.
Let me see it. Yeah. Let me see the blood one. Oh, it's just that kid laying over there. It's Fire Marshal Bill comes in. So, and there's the story of Baron Scnaw, or Scnaw, however you fucking pronounce it, in Bohemia. And he had been sentenced to be racked for the crime of heresy in the mid-16th century. And he was told if he didn't willingly offer up the names of his confederates, he would be racked until he decided to talk. Well, when the guards came to haul him into the torture chamber, they found that he had cut out his own tongue.
How the fuck do you do that? Like, I have an issue with this thing on my finger here. How the hell people actually... No. Like, what? It's obviously made out of harder stuff. Like...
Yeah. Well, I mean, these people didn't have air conditioning or heat. They wanted to stay warm. They had to light a fire. We just get to turn a knob. I mean, people back then were tougher than we are now. It's just that's how the way it is. But apparently, it was quite a bit to help because he fell unconscious, probably from pain and blood loss. And next to his unconscious body was a note. Quote, I did not. I'm sorry.
If you didn't do it, I was going to.
So I did this extraordinary action because I would not, by any means, or any tortures, be brought to accuse myself or others, as I might, through the excruciating torment of the rack, be implied to utter falsehoods. All one sentence, like 9 commas, just so you know. He may have saved his friends, but since he could no longer talk, they simply racked him to death.
Okay.
So, you know, seems like you put yourself through a lot of shit for nothing. You could have just not talked with a tongue in your mouth, but whatever. How do you actually die from the rack? Well,